Surely it goes without saying.
You admit your part in it too, then?
I admit nothing at all. I will keep extending this to the day I die.
Huh?
It goes without saying because he's not saying it. So why do we still feel like we got played?
Because we didn't deliver the true justice. We delivered justice, but not the true justice.
Excuse me, sorry. Please continue.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we got the Phoenix right answer, but we didn't deliver the Apollo justice.
No, I hate you. I'm not acknowledging that. The court's already examined that photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it.
They didn't examine it hard enough, sir.
Are you sure about that?
Hey,
are we just John Cena memeing today? Like, what's...
Yes.
Welcome back, folks. We're going to beat this case in this video. I swear to God. I'm assuring you, it will be. The end is almost nigh. We just.
Are you sure about that?
Shut up, John Cena. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here.
What? What sort of misapprehension?
That John Cena is real.
Dr. Scythe,
Well, of course he's not real. We can't see him.
you claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie. Because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer.
If that is the case, what is it, man?
Counsel, you've clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Sai's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in her testimony?
Is it really going to be that he actually didn't die after he fell?
Wait, well, sorry, what?
Well, if the autopsy report was technically... So, okay. We're going with the idea that she stabbed the guy because she, quote-unquote, had to.
So, yeah.
But if that was the case, that would technically mean that, from a point of view, the autopsy report is actually correct. If the gentleman actually didn't die from the impact of the fall.
Well, I think this is Ace Attorney, and as Ace Attorney has been pushing that the autopsy is wrong, I don't think that's the correct answer.
Okay. All right.
By Ace Attorney logic, since it has been pushing that it's been wrong, I don't think that's the right answer. We also know that she was coerced. That wasn't a lie. The lie was, I think, the stabbing of the victim. Like
It's
how
part of
the
that
process of it.
story lie by the contradiction in her testimony. So it's not the stabbing of the victim because that was the contradiction. Like that's all. Like that was already the contradiction in the testimony. It's just that contradiction led to a further lie. So it's not the stabbing of the victim. That's already. That's the contradiction. There's something else.
Okay.
But by the logic we've just assumed, if you're saying that's not the stabbing of the victim, it's none of these.
I think it might be the coercion.
She was lied? It was her being coerced was the lie?
Okay, a lot of the elements of this case have been like harkening back to past cases, and I seem to recall one case where just before the end, someone confessed to everything as a means to implicate or protect someone else.
Yeah.
So, if that logic stands, and it's hearkening back to that, then then this attempted testimony is an attempt to end the case with the verdict that Ryunosuke wanted, adjudication for hairbrain, while hiding the real truth. So, what would be the most damaging truth here if she was the real killer?
Yeah.
But her testimony, as it is right now, is, I didn't kill him, he killed him, I just helped make it look like, he was killed through these means.
Yeah?
So, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if she wasn't coerced, why would she want to kill Asmon? Unless it's somehow tied to the professor, which is the state secret thing.
Yeah, he does have a connection to the professor in a sense, so... Asmon does have a connection to the professor.
And so does she. So, I don't know why I think it's the top one, but that's where I'm leaning. I don't know about you two.
A few moments later.
Well, we have 5 check marks.
Yeah, it's true.
I can go with how she was coerced.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Hey, problem solving is still problem solving. Dr. Sai clearly weren't really coerced by some letter at all. What? If you were, where is the note? It's nowhere to be seen.
Oh, I didn't even think about that part.
No,
Oh my
you know
god!
What? That's a point. Huh. That's as may be. So why don't you present it to the court, if the assertion vexes you? Obviously, I've already disposed of it, and I'm not vexed in the slightest.
You seem vexed, ma'am.
Counsel, need I remind you that it was you yourself who established a coercion?
Oh, I guess we did.
I'm afraid that little cry is insufficient recompense for such a blunder. I shall have to penalize you.
So what is the stabbing?
Feeling vexed, my Nipponese friend.
Very.
Well, oh well.
I mean, Ryunosuke made a valid point. We never did see the note. She just claimed it.
I mean, that was actually valid. But,
I was in agreement with Ryunosuke on that. But then again, at the same time,
but it also makes sense that she would dispose of it.
She disposed of it, but also I'm sitting here like, yeah, we did actually were the one pushing for that she was coerced. So I guess we would actually know the whole thing, wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, it seems solid in my head, but oh well.
But there's no question that the coroner's testimony was built on a tremendous lie. Stabby victim.
Yeah, alright, I guess it has to be the stabbing.
The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time.
I guess we're still on the stabbing. I was kind of assuming we had moved past that to
No, we were still on the...
Damn, alright, okay. You know what?
We went too
That's
big
fair.
brain. No, we went too big brain on that.
I went too big brain on that.
Sir, this is still an Ace Attorney game.
But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage.
Yes, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
That's impossible! The man was dead, remember?
Was he? No! That is the misapprehension.
So, technically, my logic for picking the autopsy report wasn't wrong, it just wasn't the right answer.
Yeah.
When the
And honestly, my logic was also, she had to have been the one who killed him. So, yeah, I think we both had the right idea, just the wrong options.
We showed our work, but it still got the wrong answer, and the teacher did not tell us how we did it wrong.
That sounds about right.
This is why I don't think too hard.
We showed our work with our math formulas. Unfortunately, this is a chemistry class.
You still use math and chemistry.
When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall.
It's possibly broken, but I'm still alive.
He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage.
I'm not dead yet.
Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything.
Holy shit, woman.
Mr. Oldme Asman's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Harebrain. Nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
Attempted murder is in fact not murder.
Where did Mad 2 spells go?
She's carving Herlock in the corner.
Like,
Okay.
Enoch Drebber is definitely, something, but attempted murder is in fact not murder.
He didn't commit the act, so. But anyway,
Well, I think
sure-
even Heem's going like, wait, I didn't kill him?
He's in shock. Like, wait, what happened?
That's why I said, attempted murder is not murder.
Order!
I'm not going to lie, I am
order!
barely scared around this woman.
Order! Can this possibly be true?
I'm just imagining Enoch Drebber like, excuse me, I put in all that work, and I wasn't even the one who killed him?
Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him?
I'm not saying no.
You hoped that by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end, before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder.
I knew it! I knew it!
Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now, you're making all this up. As if I would do something like that.
Objection!
Hello, Susato.
I assure you, defense is not desperate, Doctor. If Mr. Naruhodo... well, if? I don't know where that came from. Sorry. My English isn't as good as his. Mr. Naruhodo established the facts using evidence and logic alone.
Ha! Logic. Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it.
Oh, like the gaping hole you caused in someone's
Huh?
chest?
Damn it, you stole my line.
I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman?
I can think of two.
Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. But there is no known connection to Dr. Scythe there.
Huh. I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched.
True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner might have done this.
Perhaps in the evidence?
Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report. But murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection!
I feel like I should mention now, because I just heard the objection. Did you know Mark is Wukong?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He got
awesome.
a huge role, man. Congratulations to him, honestly.
Hey.
I was like, wait, you're the main protag. Let's go. I was already planning to buy the game too, and I was like, oh, this works out.
Like, you know what? Good for you, man.
I know, right? No, when you question what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. What?
What was it, counsel? Enlighten the court at once.
The judge is just completely engrossed in the story. I need to know!
He's here for the gossip. Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, and yesterday might mean several months ago for us. Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time.
Time
Oh
passes
my
much
God.
slower in the past of Britain.
There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman.
Why?
Oh,
the
that is really specific. Oh my god, the scalpels. Scalpels. There was when we went to Dr. Seiss, like the coroner's office, we looked at a logbook. There was a logbook that was sitting on the table, and I know Ryunosuke and Susato, Ryunosuke and Iris made a mental note saying, "Wow, they bought an awful lot of scalpels."
Oh yeah, that's right.
That is very specific, and the only reason why I remember is because I'm here and I'm gonna bring it up anyway, because there's no way you guys would have remembered that, because it's very, like, it was a one-time moment scene. There was no way you're gonna remember that.
Well, I knew it wasn't the screwdriver, so...
Yeah, when the Iron Mask showed up, that's the one that caught my attention the most, because I'm just wondering why. But I guess now it's just like something to throw you off guard.
It's a scalpel. Or rather, scalpels.
Did you say scalpels?
That word
Yeah,
is losing all meaning.
She was scalping the scalpels.
She's scalping. It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor. Come on, out with it. It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big, thick book here.
Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team spending, I think. Oh?
What is it?
It's clear that they purchase various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
They're on Aspen's payroll.
Yeah.
500 scalpels a month?
At first, I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts.
Aspen's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward.
10 years ago, when Mr. Aspen was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information relating to Dr. Seiss' darkest secret that he could use to rack money from her for the next decade. Oof, that's rough.
Her darkest secret? Oh, good lord, you mean...
I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will.
I was right! I was just not far ahead enough! I was just too far ahead. I was too far ahead.
You stabbed Mr. Aspen in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. What we've had to keep covered up all these long years. A twist within a twist of this case.
You want
It was not even Trevor this whole time. It was Scythe.
I would have paid money if Van Sake started pouring himself something to drink in that, like, during that cut. Everyone else quiet, still somber. Van Sake's, let's pour some wine.
As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb. The truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out.
And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, Own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth about what happened.
10 years ago, you told the truth. And you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness. And your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for. To sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years.
Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really. It's the adult brain mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness.
I mean, sir, the point of a hypothesis is to chase it and prove if it's correct or not. And if you find out it's not, that's part of the learning process.
Careful, Mr. Drebber.
I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it?
So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim.
Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge.
Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmon's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Asmon, did it?
Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see.
The condemned convict you saw rising from the grave in Lokit Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true,
And obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had.
So your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well. Or on Dr. Scythe, to be precise.
It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmon turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who'd handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of the new forensic team. When I learned that news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan.
what a horrid tale.
He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him, for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I'd had to suffer.
Your actions against those who ruin your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, In carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you?
Did I?
Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man.
I...
Well, that was heavy stuff.
You know, from the back, he looks like Sephiroth.
Now, just because he has long white hair.
And a black cloak.
I am the true son of what's his name. I don't know. I don't care. I'm
Genova?
still.
Genova?
Yes, whatever.
Ocho?
Lord Van Zeeks, what of Dr. Scythe?
An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted, and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber.
A most regrettable situation, indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain.
Yes, I was in this case. Yes.
Kind of just forgot that this was cases about him.
It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial. But I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt.
This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. I'm in need, this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I have been selfish and self-centered and above all, a fool.
Professor.
He said it, not me.
I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research. Misguided, believing I could do whatever I set my mind to despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused other pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I.
No, Professor, that's not true.
What?
Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. His outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way.
Lord Van Zeeks.
And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams, that's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices.
Oh.
Can we have the entire audience give a standing ovation for Lord Van Zeeks right now? Because that was just poetry.
Oh! Thank you, Baroque.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, yes, my lord.
It's been a while.
This whole trial, this whole trial,
Trier?
juror number 1 has been a nothing burger for me.
He hasn't moved his position. He's like, yeah, he's guilty. And he still thinks he's guilty based on the banner.
is this court's condition that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections.
None from me, my lord.
Certainly not.
This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision.
It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
Oh? What's that? Easy done, easy? It's all over?
I don't know what's become of the yacht these days. I don't recognize the place.
Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant
Not guilty! Confetti! Fireworks! Woohoo!
You're welcome, pal. Now let me get back in my time machine.
Why are you
How do you keep time traveling?
here?
Oh, that's my fault.
I'm trying to get to the point in time where I can't tell you that. Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm
is
the one who gave
adjourned.
him the time machine.
Uh-huh.
Wait. How did Trevor give him a time machine?
No, Cell.
Sorry. I forgot you were here, Cell.
And that's what
It's-
Cell wanted you to think.
It's over. It's really ogre. That was some trial. The 24th of October, 4:33 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. We're a little out of time again. And there's a very long scene that's about to play, and I don't really want to keep it stuck on this video, so we're gonna have to stop here and continue in the next one. I assure you, we're technically done with the trial. It's just all this after stuff we gotta get to now. So,
Okay, I'll see you next one. Bye.